Today's topic is how to look serious on the internet. My name is Khavar Nihal. I work for Applied Technology Research Center. There are etiquettes, and on the internet, they're called netiquettes. Before, this topic used to be pretty popular in the 1990s. Not sure what's going on nowadays, but now the year is 2019, and we notice that some people might be not aware of some of these points, which are called netiquettes. The reason we have made this presentation is to help others be aware of some of the netiquettes that might be a clash between the old times of the internet and nowadays. These days, the people born after the 1990s or some after the year 2000, they have a different viewpoint on technology. And some of the old people have learned, like us, we have lived in a time where there was no internet, so we can actually imagine a world without it. And we know a world without it, but it's very hard for the new people and the kids to imagine a world without an internet. Due to this difference, there might be a clash in the viewpoints, and there are some of the finer points we know that they're not aware of, and there might be other things that they know we don't know about. So let's start off with one example, which is like Facebook pages. A lot of companies nowadays, they just have a Facebook page and don't even have a web page. The reason is simple. You might not be aware that a web page is required or compulsory in business because the simple thing is price. It doesn't cost much to make a Facebook page. All you need is a laptop for a while and it's done. But when it comes to a web page, you have to pay at least 1,000 rupees per year for just a domain, and then you have to pay at least 700 a month to have a reasonable hosting that works. Works as in can be qualified to be called web hosting. So it costs around 7,000 to 10,000 per year to it, minimum just for having a website. So the main point is does it matter? Yes. How does it matter? The thing is, imagine if you have a business, and when you give a business card to somebody, the first thing people notice is the office address. The reason you have these shiny office buildings and commercial blocks is because they're serious about the presentation. Similarly, imagine I give a visiting card, but you say I have a very shiny office and I'm really serious about it, but you can't even afford 10,000 per year on a domain. That's how they view companies that don't even have a website, or do actually might have it, but don't mention it or something. So then the next level after the website comes the email part. A lot of people use Gmail. As far as we know, 30% of the email traffic on the world is now being received by Gmail servers. This includes domain hosted on Google and Gmail, the emails connected to gmail.com itself. So on your business card, it shows whether you have a Gmail, Hotmail, or a Yahoo account, or you have one with your own domain. Then the next level is, are you confident enough to use your own email? Then if you do use your email, you're limited by the amount of space that web hosting companies provide. It's not unlimited, but actually some give unlimited, but it's not really unlimited technically. So what happens is, if you don't empty out your mailbox, is going to bounce. This should not be a regular thing, because if there are too many bounces, people will just have to assume that you're not checking it at all, and then they'll just not consider you a serious thing. So you can have a bounce once in a year or so, but it shouldn't be more than that. Be able to fix this bouncing issue. Use IMAP and POP3. Use IMAP from multiple devices to check the email, and use a POP3 based software from a regular device, which makes sure it empties out your boxes at least once a day. I'm not going to go into detail of IMAP and POP, because that can easily be understood from other resources available on the internet these days, but if still there are questions, we can make a separate video presentation on it. Think of the internet as a communication device, and because of that, some rules apply to it. Remember that the other side, you have a human. Whoever might be reading your message or comment or whatever, they can have their feelings hurt. Just because it's a virtual world does not mean that the real world standards of behavior do not apply. So if you want to be serious, behave online as you would behave in real life. Different areas, locations, cultures, countries, groups, domains, they have their own tolerance for different things. So some people might tolerate what you have, and other groups might not tolerate the same thing. So if in doubt, first check what's going on before you actually post something. Similarly, related to that, respect people's resources and time. If they're reading your stuff, make sure it's worth it. And don't expect people to agree with you. Post messages related to the groups. Don't ask stupid questions on discussion groups. Usually, if there's a seminar or something where you're paying to get in, and that's okay, then in those areas, it's okay, there is no bad question. But on the internet, a lot of people are volunteering their own time to be there. So, and then that's why you shouldn't ask stupid questions on discussion groups. If there is a frequently asked questions available, read that first, and whenever possible, use private email instead of posting everything to the group. Don't put subscribe, unscribe, or stuff fact requests on the groups. Don't waste if there's an experts group, do not put basic stuff or discuss basic stuff on that. And there is a poet called Rumi. He has a good way of putting it, so I'm using that as an example. He says, before you speak, when I'm saying on the internet means you post or write or send audio or whatever, before you speak, let your words pass through these three gates. These three gates are pretty useful for filtering your output. First one is it true? The second one is it necessary? The third one is it kind? If it doesn't pass through all of these three gates, don't give it. It's useful for your life. Now, to make yourself look good online, check your grammar and spelling before you post. That includes every language you're using. Do the best you can with the grammar and spelling before you post. Know what you're talking about and avoid flame bait. Flaming is like starting wars. So you post something insulting and everybody starts a war. One of the main reasons that flaming is easy on the internet is because people think they're anonymous. They can use some other username and start a war. Because of the anonymity and de-individualization, it has a higher tendency of people who love to have flame wars. It makes it easy for them to start it. But if you want to look serious, avoid flame bait, and similarly, don't discuss spelling and grammar flames. Starting a flame war just on somebody else's spelling or grammar mistake. And if you accidentally start a flame war, apologize. Okay. On experts-related groups, if you know something useful, share it. If you have received email answers from somebody else who is an expert and you can summarize them for everybody else, that's good too. Respect other people's privacy. This is similar to the real world. You don't read other people's private email. So similarly, if you have somebody's mobile or something, you don't open up their SMS and WhatsApp or whatever. Don't abuse your power. You might be the admin or a group or something, so important to be careful with whatever power you have. If somebody makes a mistake, it's okay. You can refer them to this presentation and others about how to behave on the internet, and they can learn about it. So these were some of the etiquettes which we knew about, on the top of our head, and we can discuss. If there are any you found that are missing, you can tell us and we'll add it. I hope you found this presentation useful. It was how to look serious on